thing. We had the Who's in good old Steak and Kidney Town today they were on at Grandwick, but they raced on the Kensington track. Now, I'll get to that meeting in a minute. We go all the way back to last Saturday, the provincial meeting. It was at Kembla Grange. The track was good. The rail was 5 metres out. There was a very strong wind, which was the same situation at Rose Hill last Saturday. It was coming out of the southeast, and similar to Rose Hill, it did ease towards the end of the day, but that didn't stop leaders at Kembla Grange who were running into the wind when they went out of the back straight and were running into it in the back straight from winning. You could, at the track, there were leaders that won. There were runners that came from behind. They went through on the fence and won and came down the outside. The track played fair. We went to, now that was on the last Saturday. Now, on Sunday, last Sunday, we had another provincial meeting at Hawkesbury where the track was a good 3, upgraded to a good 2, believe it or not. The rail was in the normal position, and I must say there was no bias on the track at Hawkesbury either. There was only a very light breeze coming out of the southwest. Most of the winners, if you could easily say, I suppose, up near the lead possibly was an advantage, because until the last race came along, most of the winners were up near the lead, if not leading in the first 2 or 3. We came to the last race and we saw a race where there was a good bit of pace ejected into this race, with a few runners. Well, for instance, I couldn't understand it in this last race. Choisir Le Rouge, they said it was going to be ridden with cover. I thought it would go straight to the lead. Well, the rider, Sam Clipperton, obeyed instructions and he dropped his hands at the start. But there was, when they went out of the back straight, the horse started pulling on him, and by the time they got to the home turn, he'd hit the lead after making a very wide run. That winner, Long Kiss, was ridden by Ty Aglin. He sat back and had one go at them and came down the outside. It was the runner that came from furthest back that day. Most of the other winners were up near the lead. Now, that was the Sunday meeting, provincial. We went to Canterbury on Wednesday, and fancy being able to go to Canterbury and not see a leader on the fence get home. It's a very rare circumstance for that to happen. The track was good. The rail was in a normal position. There was no wind, but the penetrometer was only 4.4. The grass, I don't know what this has possibly got something to do with. The grass had obviously been bitten by a couple of light frosts, and it wasn't as thick as usual, and plus that harder surface. Well, that lent to not a leader, as I say, on the fence getting home all day. There was a $9 chance in the first race, the Wesleyan, which is pretty weak. Well, it held on and it led on the fence and ran third. The runner that sat outside the leader in the last race, Straturbo, it sat outside Ike's Legacy. It ran fourth, Ike's Legacy, and as I say, Straturbo sat outside the lead. It was the runner who was closest to the lead all day that actually got home. There were runners that came from well back in the field and came around them, and from midfield on the fence and got splits and so forth. So that track, with that, I suppose, more sparse grass and the firmer track, lent to the track playing, I've got to say, very, very fair. If you went to Canterbury and it played that way most of the time, well, it gives a lot of horses a much better chance than when, as we know, it can play diabolical fence. And if you're not on the fence, you have to have a little bit on the field to actually get home. Now that was Wednesday. Now then we had another provincial meeting on Thursday. That was at Gosford. The track was a dead 4. The rail was in the normal position. There was only a very light southeasterly blowing, no effect. And I thought maybe early in the piece there could have been, well, the fence could have been a little bit sus, but that wasn't the case. You could most certainly, as in race 4, when it came around, the winner, Final Agreement, who had barrier 1, led on the fence and did win by 3.5 lengths. There were runners that came from behind, that were on the fence and also around them, and I must say the track at Gosford on Thursday, it also played very fair. Now we got to Kensington. The Kensington meeting today, the track was downgraded, they said, from a dead 4 to a dead 5. The wind was more or less non-existent, just a very, very light breeze which didn't have any effect. They were only small fields. The penetrometer today was 4.78. We had rain during the early morning and before the first race, and then it cleared up and it didn't rain for the rest of the day. And I must say, the track did play very fair. There were runners that came from well back in the field around them, and there were also runners that led on the fence and won, runners who got up on the inside of them and won. And as I say, you were also able to come from behind. In race 2, the winner, Blademeister, it settled down in last position. It was equal favourite, or started second pick with Tester Shadow, and they ran 1-2 in the second race. They had a lap on the others, and it came from last around and wide. Now, I thought the track played very fair. Now, I didn't get the top fluck percentages there today. I didn't write them down, but I do know what we captains bet in the marketplace, and I think if the robots would have seen these prices, they'd fair income have kittens. But there we were. There were only 2 races we got all day where we got positive figures, and in those, well, I'll get to those races, but there are lots of runners that weren't liable, of course. The first race, we only gave in that marketplace 97%. Now, they said the best luck about this favourite, Inkling, was $1.65. Well, all jokes aside, if you couldn't get, if you sent someone to the races and they didn't get $1.70, I know it's only a fraction better, but it all adds up. Well, you'd sack them, but there was as much as $1.80 given on the rails. I saw it with my own 2KYs. There it was, $1.80, plenty of $1.75. I said the best luck was only $1.65. This favourite, Inkling, is set on the outside of sheer style, and was just a bit too strong for it. It's as simple as that. Won by 1.3 lengths. Wasn't anything flash. It was full bore to the post. Sitting in 4th position and running 3rd was the a runner called Tudor. They quizzed the rider why he didn't lead today. He said when he jumped, he said he just felt comfortable where the horse was. But as I say, the favourite, look, you more or less didn't have any worries if you laid it on. and it did the job well. 2.6 lengths away to the third horse, and then the other two runners were 5.5 and 14.8 lengths away to the first starter, Captain Kirk, and also the other starter, first starter, Sir Barb, who at one stage was well back from $8 into starting only $6. The runner that was hard to lay in this race, of course, was Sheer Style. We put it up a 13 to 4, $4.20 chance. 13 to 4 bar it. We put the favourite up at 6 to 4 on $1.60. And number one, Sheer Style, got out to as much as $6.50 towards the end of betting. Race 2, here again, we only gave losing figures. 96% only us stupid captains in the marketplace playing the pros, and they said they were going to ride Blade Meister much closer today. Well, there were 8 runners, and when he jumped out of the barrier, jovial Josh Parr, he found himself looking at them and saying, well, there's no good going forward here. And instead of being closer, he was well back, as he finished up settling down in last position, and easing off heels, coming to the turn, and he was able to round them up and win. Chester Shadow, the second pick, coming down the side, he drew barrier 3, ridden by apprentice Luke Grace. He eased off the fence at the right time, but he was on the back of Stratton, who got slightly held up. But when he did ease off Stratton's heels, all of a sudden, there's a chance it might have been Fast Nits. It just more or less came back in his face, and he lost his momentum. The winner was behind him at the time, by the same token, and then. But I think if he would have got an uninterrupted run at that stage, he might have been able to slide through and maybe get a break on the winner, and most probably win. But he didn't. He lost his momentum slightly. The winner, as I say, was behind him at the time, and then he had to just force his way out of a bit of a pocket, and the winner was looming up on his outside at the time, and they went away to fight the race out, and the winner was a bit too strong, beating him by 0.4 of a length, and it was 4.9 lengths away to Stratton, who got slightly held up, but there's no way in the wide world it could have won if it wasn't. First and second in that race, they had plenty on the others. Race 3, again, in the marketplace, where it's by far the best place to bet if you've got any respect at all for your section. Godfather, you've got to get to the live racing. You can even look at the horses in the enclosure and say, look, that one looks nice. I don't like that one. And there's these blokes inside betting much better prices than you can get with the TAB and all the corporates. Oh my God, it's just having a part. We're just putting the party on out at the races. 98% only in this race, and I suppose when this runner's number went up in the frame, Oriental Lady, most people were surprised. Everyone thought the favourite had nosed him out on the line, and the winning move most probably was made by Brendan Avdulla when he was down the back straight. He was in second last. He was in second last position, and on the outside of Miss Zanella, and they were only going slow up in front. It was leading Jarrah Lee at the time, and he said, "Wait there." He said, "I'll just slide up and sit outside Jarrah Lee." And when he got up on the outside of Jarrah Lee handed up the lead easily. He went straight across to the fence, and he controlled the race. He finished up getting a little bit of a break on the turn. Fraser's made a finish up coming and sitting on his outside. It dropped off fairly quickly. It ran third, beaten 7.2 lengths. And then, of course, after easing off their heels, the other pair, they just dropped right out. Fraser's ran fourth, beaten 7.2 lengths. running third was Toranaga or Tahunga. Tahunga beaten 1.9. It sat in fourth position and plugged away. And for some reason, I just can't work it out. It is trained by I Own the Lead Gay. They decided not to lead today. They said they'd take a sit. Well, that could have been the wrong move there, because it might have been better off. I wonder whether I think Jara Lee would have handed up the lead for sure, but they did do what they said they were going to do, and they took a sit on Tahunga in the one position after it had got to the lead Oriental Lady, and then got to its outside, turning for home or down the side, but the winner had got away from Tahunga, and it was up to the favourite, who eased off their heels. It settled back in last position, the favourite, and ridden by Tommy Terrific Berry. He made his move before the turn, loomed up, and said, "Oh well, I'll get past you, Oriental Lady," but which I must admit, everybody on the course, including the caller, saw with our own eyes. And down near the line, everybody said, "Yes, the horse on the outside has just got his nose in front, stuck his eye, I suppose, out." But when the judge had a look at that print and then they stuck it up, the inside horse, his, I suppose, was a fraction in front of the Avery's nose, Saigon Tea, and it was a clear margin, about a half an inch, and he was able to beat the favourite. The flux in that race, Oriental Lady opened up $4.40, got out to, I saw $6.50 on the fence, started $5.50. Fraser's, it was 13 out to 14 back into 10. Miss Zanella was $8 out to $9.50 back into 9. Saigon Tea, we put it up the 5 to 4 on favourite, got out to plenty of evens, into 10 to 9 on, but got out to $2.05 towards the end of betting. To Hunger, you wouldn't see it. $7 out to $8 into $6 at the end of betting, a 5 to 1 chance. And Jara Lee was 40 out to 50. The winning move was when Brendan Abdullah, as it turned out, if he would have been beaten, of course, by a nose by the favourite, everyone would have backed the winner. They would have said, "Oh, he took off too early, he should have waited." Oh, it's easy to ride those horses in the stand. Race 4, well, this was no good for the captains here. The winner, sensationally backed, and also the her in the race was absolutely disgraceful. We only got 94%. These were the flux. $9 out to $12, back into 11, back to 12, keep cool. Single went from $5 out to $7. Black Jag went from $5 out to, you wouldn't see it, $7.50, back into $6.50. Disciple never had a price, $6 out to $8.50. Layback Larry, $3 out to $3.50 and $40. $3.50 hard to get, but was there. $3.40, plenty of it. Back into $3. I think they only returned to $3. I was $3.30, wanting to go more longer, but I was laying at that price, and when they jumped, so I couldn't top dress myself. Reigning was $6.50. One of the first runners they backed in this race by the pros. God, they're hard to beat, those pros. $6.50 into $5.50. Then they took the $5.50 towards the end of betting, and it started 4 to 1. It was 4 to 1 Barrett starting second pick, and it was 30 into $20 Scottish Border. There was money for it, or section, as we all know. And this race here, it settled down in front, Black Jag, as we all thought would happen. Up on its outside was Layback Larry, that was its second run back from a spell today. It'll be improved, the old layback Larry. Gay, she'll find a race for it where it'll roll straight to the front and be able to get clear and win. On their backs was Keep Cool, tucked away back on the fence, or tailing Keep Cool. Keep Cool was Disciple, and then back behind it, this is early in the piece, was Single, and the winner, reigning, was second last early in the piece, and coming down the side on the fence and on its outside Scottish Border, and ridden by Jay McDonald, the trainer, explaining to the Stipes that the last start, the apprentice, the kid who rode it, he took off too early and made a good bit of use of it, and today it was coming back in distance, and also having the services of Jay McDonald, who of course is a world-class rider, and he was able to get inside all of these runners, got inside Black Jag, who finished about 4 off the fence by the time they'd got down to the winning post, got inside it. Black Jag fought on very well. The margin was only 0.2 of a length when they hit the line, and Layback Larry, who, as I said, sets in second position all the way, it plugged away in the third hole, beaten 3.2, but it will be improved. Race 5, now here was a race where we saw 104%. The captains were able to squeeze 104 out of this race, but there were runners that just didn't have prices. And who won this race? One of the ones that didn't have a price. This was a skinner for the books. It was a skinner for the captains. Foreign Prince, ridden by that 3 kilo girl. She rode the last winner as well today, Winona Constant. She took it straight to the lead, she said. She had barrier 1. She jumped when the lids opened. It was a bit of a Serge Lisney situation. She sprung the boxes, and I wonder going back to race 4, the previous race, whether Black Jag missed Serge, who of course has been on its back its last 2 times it won, and the 2 times has run second. He's been on the last 4 starts. He knows that pretty hard. Serge might have been off on his bike before this young kid R. Hutchins did today, and you never know, if Serge was on board this Black Jag, who he's got a fairly good rapport with, he might have been able to get it home. Going to this next race, as I say, she flew the lids, Winona Constant and Foreign Prince. She dictated in front. She stacked them up. There were runners that were trapped a bit wide in the run. Forget Maybe was tracked wide. Madal, who was very well back, number 11, which was, you wouldn't see it, $14 into $8. You wouldn't see the $14. It was trapped wide in the run, and it was also a bit wide. Poetic Debate, and also colouring was a little bit wide but had cover. But this runner, when they got to the turn, it was travelling sweetly for this young 3 kilo girl, and she topped the rise, and she was able to get away from the runner sitting on us outside. There's 70 to... No more for the favourite, please. It can't go on. Oh, no. Hello? Hello? Hi, darling. Listen, I'm just doing the review. Can I ring you back? Did they really? Why is that? Oh, because I saw the hickey hockeys all inspecting the track. Oh, wow. Oh, surface water was there? Oh, I see. All right, I'll give you a ring back, my darling. Bye. Well, there it was. I didn't know, but there was surface water on the track at in Western Australia today. Where was the meeting? At Belmont, I suppose it was, and the races were called off after the second race. I'm most probably the only one in Australia who doesn't know that. Anyway, this race here, of course, in race 5. After it sat on on the outside of the favourite. Was it Zabadoo, who the rider only claimed 1.5 kilos of his 2 kilos. Luke Grace, she was able to get. It was a 70-to-1 chance. She was able to get away from it fairly easily, and when she established that break, that length and a half, 2 length break, she held it all the way down to the line. The margin was 1.3 lengths when they got down to the line from Colouring, who, as I say, was behind the pace, not far away in about 6th position with cover, and a runner that was trapped a little bit wide in the run up near the lead, Medal, who was, as I said, was extremely well back. It stuck on for 3rd. The runner that ran 4th in this race was Royal Jackpot. It settled down in last position, and it came widest on the turn, right down the outside, never ever going to win, but did make up plenty of ground passing horses. It was beaten 3 lengths at the finish. The winner was a fairly strong effort, and it was only 2nd up today. Race 6, here only 95%, these captains and including myself. Oh my God. How come there's not a big fence around the course to stop the people from getting in? I can't understand it. Oh, yes, I can. They just don't understand. If they back a winner, the younger generation, they say, oh, what's the difference? I took $2 off the tab and you blokes with $2.50. Oh, it won, didn't it? Doesn't make any difference. What good boys they are. Race 6, as I say, only 95%. And I must admit, I didn't like this winner at all. Harara, I marked it a pony. I must be a complete and utter dill. It sat on the outside of the visitor from Queensland, Adebisi, and Adebisi got a 2-length break on a turning for home, and it with this little girl on it, Claire Nutman, she got this going again after they topped the rise and went out after the leader, Adebisi, and she was able to run it down and beat it by 0.4 of a length. It came from last right along the fence to run 3rd. Ernest always runs on. The favourite, it got trapped wide in the run. It led on the fence, as I say, Adebisi, on its outside, the winner, looking at it coming down the side, tucked away in behind them, Tahish and Black. On its outside, we had It's Crunch Time, and then it was, unfortunately, for favourite backers, Casual Choice, trapped 3 wide, ridden by Tommy, Terrific Berry, on the fence, Ernest, and tailing them up was News Alert. And as I said, Harara was able to wear down the leader, and the 3rd, it made up ground from behind. Ernest beat 1.7, even though the favourite was trapped wide in the run. You could, if you obviously had backed it, you could easily say, oh, well, it was wide, but gee whiz, it was still very disappointing. Race 7, a fat 101 in the marketplace, and here again, I had a terrible result on this race. Gold Epona, I put up $41, and they just kept on backing with me. I said, how's it going to win? And it won it all right. It sat back 4 on the fence and got inside runners, was slightly held up when going for a run, and pulled slightly on the rider at one stage, but it was able to get up on the inside of all runners. It led on the fence, Lady of Harrods, and tailing it up on the behind it on the fence was Patnage from Barrier 1. Well, it dropped off, but this winner, who was on the back of Patnage, got inside it and inside the leader after they had topped the rise and kept on coming right along the 18 pence and finished up winning by 0.2 of a length from the very, very unlucky, it would have been a great result for me, In the Money, who was more or less trapped 3 wide the entire section of this race. He drew barrier 9 in a field of 11. I'm In the Money, settled back in about 4th or 5th last position, 4th last position, but as I say, was wide, all coming down the side. came wide in the straight and only failed by the 0.2 of a length. It was most probably the best run in the race. Running third was the favourite. I've got the Looks, who, copped a little bit of a check at the start, and then also another little check after they'd gone a little way. It was in between runners ridden by Father Schofield, and it's not very big. I've got the Looks. It's trained by Paul and Peter Snowden now. It was with Wendy Walter. Anyway, it got in between runners, and it did show its usual turn of foot, but it didn't sprint as fast as it did last start at Rose Hill, and it just got in between them. It wasn't beaten far. The margins were, it ran third, only beaten 0.4 of a length, and after sitting up handy near the lead all of the way was Cat's Eye Surprise, and it ran fourth, beaten only 0.6 of a length. But the winner did come from past midfield, up on the inside. That was the difference between winning and losing, whereas the second horse here had to come wide on the turn, but was wide in the run as well. The runner that started, it was favourite. I've got the Looks. We put it up a 5-2 chance. Bookies reach for it very, very strongly to get out as much. You wouldn't see as much as $5.50 was given. The pros said, oh, well, we'll have to have a large plate of that. And a large plate they did. At one stage, it was into $4.20. I think you even could wind the $4.20 off. It was 9-2 into threes, but it got back out to $4.40 towards the end of betting. Rose of Falvalon, there was a bit of money for it at $8.50. The first bet I wrote in the book was the next runner, Angel B. Someone said to win 5 at $5. Bet them 5,000 at $12.50. It was into $4.40, and then towards the end of betting, you couldn't give it away at $5.50. Angel B. Lady of Harrods was always around about the $13 mark. In the money after opening up about a $9 chance, 8-1. It got out to 13, which was taken back into 12. Jacinta, you wouldn't see it. They said the best luck, I think, was Annie. Might have said 650, but there was a mile of 7, 650 out to 7, back into 6. Gold Epona, they said it stayed on 30 all the way. It started 40 on the fence. I bet 40 for a bucketful. Miss Alibi, $5. Very hard to lay Miss Alibi, out to 750. 15 out to 18, back into, or 19, back into 18, Cat's Eye Surprise. Lady Ladouce, 80 into 50, laid it well. And Patronage was 30 out to 50 into a pony, 50-1 into a lemon into 25-1, a lemon into a pony. That was about the race. And what else do you say? Going back to a race here earlier on, race 5, just mentioning the favourite, the race where Foreign Prince led all the way. The favourite in that race, Impulsive Spirit, it got a lovely suck right behind, or not directly behind it, but it was on the fence, 2 or 3 lengths behind the leader, Foreign Prince, Impulsive Spirit, and the rider said that it missed a kick slightly, and then it failed to handle the ground. The vet ran his hand over it and couldn't find anything wrong with it. It was very disappointing. We put it up the 9-4 favourite, $3.20. It got out to plenty of $3.50 or $3.60. I saw. It came in and only started about a $3.10 chance. Extremely well backed, and unfortunately was very disappointing. Now we get to the last race, and here the sensationally backed. Now you wouldn't see this in the flux. Excuse me. Here we only gave 96% in the marketplace. These were the flux. Tax Me If You Can was $8 out to $11. You'll never know if you never go. It was $5 out to $6.50. I laid it well at $6.50. Babiro was $9 out to $11, back into 10, back into 9, but back out to 10 towards the end of betting. Gangster's Choice, $15 I should say, out to 25, a pony out to 25 to 1, which you wouldn't see, but came back in and started 20 to 1. Solomon, $17 out to 21, back into 16, a bit of section for it. Pedreos, now here, the best luck was only the $5. I saw $6 there for a good while with my own 2KYs on the fence. It was $6, and then the pros spotted it. They said $6, and they went crunch. And there was a good bit of action in the ring, because not only were they instructed to take the $6, they were also instructed to take all of the $5 as well. Take what you can get, that $6, but whatever you do, don't miss the $5. The $6 disappeared very quickly, and then they had another large plate of the $5. The $5.50 wasn't really there, but the 6 was, and then they had the large plate of the 5, and at one stage, like its starting price, it was into $4, a 3 to 1 chance, and then it got back out to $4.60, but came in again. They had another large plate. They won't be able to eat all this section tonight, I'm telling you now. They'll have to get they keep it under their beds, of course, and they've got, the beds are that high, they've got these little step ladders. They've got the bed, they hop up in the night, they bump the ceiling with their head. The beds are that high because the beds are just stacked with section underneath them. Anyway, it was so well backed. And then the next runner was Corey Vecken. It was $13 out to 15, into 13. I never wound it off. You'd see it starting shorter than that. Society Man, we put it up to 7 to 4 favourite. 7 to 4 this field. Now, there were bookies who reached for it. Out to $3.40, came into $3.20 towards the end of betting. And the bottom one here, Prince of Sophia, who the side said missed the kick badly. It didn't actually miss the kick. It came out with them, and then just didn't muster pace. And all of a sudden, there was a good 8 lengths or 7 or 8 lengths behind the field after they'd only gone about 80 metres or so. And it was 40 out to 60. It went straight to the lead, the favourite, Society Man. And then when they hit the first bend, ridden by Ty Aglin, when they hit the first bend, Miss Wiona Constant, the 3 kilo girl, she said, no, I'm going on with this. And she went up on the outside of Society Man, and he handed up the lead straight away to her. She found the lead, then he sat on the south side. Tailing that pair was the horse that ran third, and that was Corey Vecken. And coming from well back in the field after settling down in second last position, in front of the tailed off Prince Sophia, was You'll Never, who always runs on, and which it did again today. It ran into fourth hole, down the outside, beaten 1.2 lengths. Ty Aglin moved up on the outside of the girl when they topped the rise. He's a very strong and vigorous rider, but he couldn't get past little Wiona. She beat him by a half a length, and it ran a very good race. Corey Vecken was only beaten 0.7, and as I say, 1.2 lengths to You'll Never. Pedreos last start, I must admit, it sat in that beautiful position at Rose Hill last Saturday, where it was a start to be on the fence, and it got a lovely suck right behind the leaders. But I thought it was most disappointing last Saturday. But that goes to show you what sort of a judge I must be, because today, as I say, as much as $6 was given, only started the $4, 3 to 1 second favourite, and there were plenty of pros and all of their follows and rank and sundry who said no, no, no. This horse is much better placed here today because there's not much pace, and this runner will get an easy lead, and it needs to roll along where it hasn't got a real good turn of foot. But when she got to the lead today, she went along at the right pace, and as I said, was able to hold that margin down to the winning post. If you were wire netting, I hope you finished on the right side of the ledger. And we've got Wyong on Tuesday. There'll be a Bonza meeting at Wyong on Tuesday. You've got to get there. Wednesday, I suppose it could be Canterbury. I don't know where Thursday is, and I don't even know where next Saturday is. But all I do know is there's 100,000 meetings in between all of those meetings. So just keep on betting, betting and betting. But make sure if you do bet, try and get to the course and bet with the captains to give your section a chance to go back into your sky with a little bit more added to it, instead of taking unders with the corporates and the filthy cancer of racing. Good evening.